This episode is brought to you by Google Gemini. With the Gemini app, you can talk live and have a real-time conversation with an AI assistant. It's great for all kinds of things, like if you want to practice for an upcoming interview, ask for advice on things to do in a new city, or brainstorm creative ideas. And by the way, this script was actually read by Gemini. Download the Gemini app for iOS and Android today. Must be 18 plus to use Gemini Live.
This episode is brought to you by AWS. Amazon Q Business is the generative AI assistant that can securely understand your business data, summarize results, and streamline tasks. Learn what Amazon Q Business can do for you at aws.com/learn more.
For every veteran, there is a story about a calling to serve, to fight for the freedoms of the American people. And every story has a struggle, a sacrifice, and invisible wounds. Warrior Watts programs help veterans recover from PTSD and invisible wounds through exercise, nutrition, and connecting with other veteran leaders. It is estimated that 22 veterans die each day by suicide, and another 30 veterans die each day by substance abuse. These are preventable deaths. Warrior Watt is committed to fighting PTSD through fitness, nutrition, and community. Got the privilege and opportunity to support our heroes in their time of need. Will you join us and take action?
All right. Welcome back.
MisFitNation, the MisFitNation show.
We are a show founded by a veteran and hosted by two veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their stories to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the MisFitNation. If you're a musician or an actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on and share your tips with the MisFitNation to help them become better versions of themselves. If you are a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and show how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you are a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and share your story with the MisFitNation. We always have time for you. If you're feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle or feel embarrassed, dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you are a new listener, welcome to the MisFitNation show. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast app. Also on our YouTube channel at @the_MisFitNation. Subscribe and click the bell to keep you up to date on our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Heroes Media Group and About Face Radio. Now, let's get to the show!
All right. Welcome to our Thursday after dinner show. And I forgot to thank RJ for that intro yesterday. Thanks for pumping up the intro, getting it away from my analog way and putting it into the digital way. You pumped this up now. I think the audience likes that one a lot better.
Doing what I do best, brother.
And again, we didn't even talk to each other. We both have red hats on somehow. So
I know, man.
It's kind of weird. It's a
unsaid note we both got. Yeah.
It's a weird shaky thing we got going on. So last night I told you our guest for tonight was probably going to cancel, and I was correct, and she did cancel, but I was able to reach out through the interface of the interwebs, and through the EOD pages, we found a USMC vet. So we got pretty lucky.
Indeed we did.
So I think we could just bring him in. 14 years USMC EOD. I was reading an article on him just a little bit earlier. I'll save what the article said until our resident redneck comes on, because I know he'll want to hear this. But he was blown up once. He's an ambassador for the EOD Warrior Foundation. He has a plan to paint one bomb suit for each one of the 50 USMC EOD techs who were killed in both Iraq and Afghanistan. So without further ado, let's bring in USMC veteran and ambassador Timothy Colomer. Welcome, Tim.
Hey guys, how you doing? I was looking around my room for a red hat.
Yes, you could have joined us. You could have red hat Thursdays instead of wear red on Fridays.
That's a security term, red hat, huh?
Yeah, red hat term. There you go, right there. See, there it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
From the green room to the red hat days. All right. So Tim, I gave a 2-sentence thing about you from what you provided me, and I tried to dig a little deeper. And I'm waiting for my resident redneck to come in, because he's going to want to hear me say that line about that article says from the Houston paper. But tell us a little more about you, from as far back as you want to go to how we got here.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. First, let me say thank you for getting me on the show. So, with such short notice. Like I said earlier, free publicity is awesome publicity. I love the intro. You guys have killer sponsors. I'm looking forward to subscribing to you guys on YouTube and watching all of your 350 shows. That's fantastic. I'll just go back to my beginning in joining the Marines. I joined the Marine Corps in 1993, so I'm old as dirt. I feel like I'm sprinting towards 50 here. I'll be 49 this year. I volunteered when I was 17. My parents actually had to sign a waiver. I know a lot of guys that are in that kind of boat. Signed up during peacetime. In the Marine Corps, you don't go automatically into EOD. So I volunteered for an aviation ordnance. And for your listeners that don't know what that is, that's basically putting bombs, missiles, rockets, things like that together for planes to drop on top of people. And while the job was interesting, it didn't really fill, I guess, that need that I had. I couldn't put my finger on it. But in that job, I worked with EOD guys on an irregular basis. Every once in a while, we'd have to contact them, if we had bad ordnance or whatever. So I got a taste of what they did. And when it was time for me to re-enlist for the Marine Corps, you got to be a sergeant to go into the EOD program. So when it came time for me to re-enlist, I was picking up sergeant at the same time. I thought, hey, this is a fantastic opportunity. I took it. That was in 1999. I went to EOD school in April of 2000 and loved it. I mean, everybody hates EOD school because it's so much work and it's so intimidating. And for those of your listeners that don't know a lot about EOD, so that's the bomb squad of your military, right? We're responsible for all the ordnance, military, foreign, domestic ordnance, but also your improvised explosive devices, those your roadside bombs, car bombs, stuff that people make in their backyard, whatever. Also chemical, biological, radiological weapons and stuff like that. So school is extremely neural. I mean, there's a lot more thinking in EOD school than there is physical activity. You get your PT in every once in a while, but Monday through Friday, you're in school, 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 in the evening. You take a short break. And because the school information, the curriculum is classified secret, you've got to go back at night to the same school for study hall for a few hours every night. And that continues throughout the entire program. And the program, with all the breaks, spring break, holiday breaks, all that other stuff, is generally a year long for surface guys. Navy, it's a little bit longer. And it's full speed the entire time. You don't get much of a break. It feels like every day or every other day you're taking a test. And if you fail in real life at EOD, you can talk about catastrophic injury, potentially death of not just the operator, but also people around them and stuff. So they try to drive that mindset in EOD school to where if you miss one thing on a test, whether it's practical application or written or whatever, you fail the test. You get one redo. And if you fail that, chances are you're going to go to an academic review board and either get dropped in school or rolled back. But you don't get that many opportunities to get rolled back. I've only known one guy that got rolled back more than once. And I do believe that was some emergency leave stuff. So EOD school was hardcore. I had the opportunity to volunteer when I left EOD school to volunteer to go to a very special unit in the Marines. That's the CBRF unit, the Chemical Biological Incident Response Force. the reason why I volunteered, not because I love wearing a gas mask. I don't anybody really does. But my brother was in the Marine Corps with me, and he was at the Seaburf unit. He's actually a plank owner, helped found the unit. So I was like, yeah, that'd be really, really cool to be stationed with my brother. I check in. 9/11 had already gone by at EOD school. I was there a little bit longer because of security hold. You got to get a top secret security clearance. There was a backlog of people trying to get their TS clearance. But 9/11 happened, and wouldn't you know it, we all got our clearances pushed through. It was crazy. So I volunteered for the Seaburf unit because my brother's there. And the first real mission I went on as an EOD technician was I got to, and I say it like that, it was a cool opportunity to help do the decontamination of Senator Dashill's office of anthrax because it was a chem bio unit. So we had the ET suits on, SCBAs on, fully encapsulated. And our mission was basically clean out the senator's office. Well, you see on TV, you watch a show like The West Wing or something like that, you see one office, right? The guy walks into his office. Hey, there's a senator, there's his office. Well, it's not really like that. The senator's got a big office, but so does his secretary, so does his cabinet of helpers, of people that are assistants, stuff like that. They got a break room, a coffee room, a bathroom, all that other stuff. Well, we literally had to take everything from the ceiling tile down to the carpet, chop it up into a big enough or a small enough piece to put in plastic overwrap. When you do that, you start running into, and I'm going to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole because I thought it was a really cool experience. You start running into logistic issues like, how do you cut up a $3,000 or $4,000 Xerox machine? Have you ever taken a Pepsi machine apart? I mean, in EOD school, they're like, all right, decontaminate the chemical round. Roger that. Couple buckets of hot soapy water and some bleach, you're ready to rock. But now you're talking about, a 15-foot long conference table that's hardwood and stuff. It's pretty amazing. So after the experience at Seaburf, stayed there for a few years. So it was really, really cool. Had an opportunity to go on to my next duty station, went on the Quantico, which I thought was one of the best kept secrets in the Marine Corps. It's a really cool base. We got to work with the FBI on a weekly basis because we were co-located, not only on Quantico, that's where the FBI lab is, but we also shared an explosives range with them. So I got to see cases like the shoe bomber and actually help them put together the shoe for a court case. There was a collar bomber that came out of Pennsylvania, the underwear bomber, which if you never heard of that, I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole, but if you never heard of the underwear bomber, look that guy up. You can get somebody to put a bomb in your underwear, man. You could sell.
That's right there.
Well, so I did some time at Quantico. It was really, really cool. And then my number got picked to go overseas, to go over to Iraq. I was a fill-in for a spot that opened up. Said, Roger that, let's go over there. I was a gunnery sergeant by that time. So, I had some seniority, and outside of just going to the range and doing some training and stuff, this was my first taste of real, EOD work. We'd get a dynamite call or a hung pin on a grenade every once in a while, but over in Iraq, that's, combat operations, EOD work, and it was nonstop. So I was in Habbaniyah, which is Anbar Province, out west. And I was a staff NCOIC there, and we were running two-man teams, and we had two-man teams. So we would do 2 days on, 2 days off. But for those 2 days on, we were out answering 9 lines all the time. 9 line is a mission, so we'd be on a mission nonstop for almost 48 hours sometimes. And within a day, it was normal that we'd get 12 to 15 IEDs. Roadside bombs, car bombs, suicide bombs. We had houses that were rigged to blow. On top of that, we had, the infantry out there, capturing enemy weapons caches, had to take care of those and render those either safe or blow them up or do whatever we had to do with them, frankly. So it was extremely taxing. Loved every bit of it, though. I'd be honest, if I didn't say that it wasn't like a hardcore rush. Every time you leave the wire to go out there, you don't know what you're getting into. And every situation is different, very much a firehouse mentality. But the law of big numbers, responding to that many calls every single day, day on, day off, you had a really high potential of getting hit, and that's what happened. We were driving down an unimproved road, so that's a dirt road, kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Our infantry guys found a weapons cache from some bad guys, and we knew that road had been booby-trapped before. In fact, the guy that I replaced, a guy named Daniel Fetter, he's another, I think he left a master sergeant. Unfortunately, Daniel was killed in Afghanistan. He gave me some sage advice about specifically that road, and basically said, if you have to go down that road, you take your big armored vehicle down that road first, because if you send a Humvee down there and they blow something up, they'll never survive it. And drove down the road. For the folks that listen to your show that don't know what a Jerv is or a Cougar, it's basically an EOD vehicle. It's like our own Winnebago that's armored up to the teeth, weighs about 33,000 pounds. And when we got blown up going down that road, it picked our vehicle up. It moved us over about 10 feet, completely leveled off the entire side. I was on the passenger side as up front on the passenger side. And we had a jump seat behind me. That's where my corpsman was at. And we were literally sitting on the seat, no pun intended, seat of the blast. So it was directly underneath our seat. And to give you a little bit of a flavor about how powerful that detonation was, is for every action there's an equal opposite reaction. I got bumped out of my seat. I hit my head on the ceiling. Well, I hit my head so hard that it broke my Kevlar in half. Wow. A military helmet. Yeah, that's what I said too. Broke it clean in half. A lot of stuff went flying in the back. We had a robot back there. It took out one of my guys in the leg. We had a robot controller that smashed one of my dudes in the face. We all got knocked out. However, we trained this scenario over and over and over again. I drilled it in my security guys. If this happens, do ... And we executed the plan. And I think that probably saved our asses, just because we had a plan. We were all unconscious, and he finally got us up on the radio. And when he did, we started, doing a triage. Is everybody okay? Is everybody all right? What kind of injuries do we have? We couldn't see anything really inside of the vehicle, not because there was smoke, just because there was so much dust, and we got hit so hard that it's like, it was 9-10 o'clock in the morning, and it was almost like pitch black. You could see like a little bit of light out of the window, but not so much. So we triaged each other. We figured we were all ambulatory. Most of us could stand up and walk out. So we got out. And then as an EOD guy, you have to search the area for potential secondary explosive devices. A lot of the bad guys would put one bomb in, and then when the vehicle got exploded and everybody rushed to go help them out, right, they're going to blow up another bomb. And that was their tactic at the time. So one of the scariest moments I've ever had was having to get out of the vehicle and go search the area, because I knew potentially there could have been a secondary device, and I had no idea where it was. And we're in a date grove. I mean, it wasn't like we're in a street that was just asphalt 360 degrees. Yeah, they had an opportunity to bury this thing, put it in a tree, do whatever. So that put me out of the Marine Corps. The following year, I got medevaced out of there. I had a couple injuries, ones that, anybody in the EOD field, or frankly, anybody in the infantry would probably relate to traumatic brain injury. I had some spinal cord injuries. I actually shrank. I lost an inch of height. That's freaking wild. Some internal injuries, and left the Marine Corps. A friend of mine was starting a company at the time. It was a little bit past startup, called AT Solutions. Got to do a few years with his company. It was actually a training company for EOD guys that just kind of really grew really, really fast. And while I was there, I finished grad school. I got my master's degree in Homeland Security, and I thought it was time to try to the corporate waters, and got hired up at Halliburton, big oil and gas company. Had to move from Virginia down to Texas. I couldn't have been happier. Texas is Texas is the most patriotic place I've ever lived. I mean, everybody bleeds red, white, and blue. Everybody that's a Texan is very much a Texan. And started up with Halliburton. Really, really cool job. Got there in 2014. Oil was great, $100 a barrel. You guys probably didn't like it because gas was $4 or $5 a gallon. But when you're in oil,
tell me about it.
Yeah, expensive gas is good for you. But then, oil and gas went down. A barrel of oil went down to almost $17 over 3 years. And it was just a bad culture, not a good fit for me anymore. I've been there about 3 years, and people getting layoffs. I mean, we laid off a tremendous 13,000 people. And that's brutal. And I mean, the environment was kind of heavy. You guys could probably understand that. So I left. I did a little startup company, had some good success with that. We grew pretty quick. But in the business world, to use a business paraphrase, our growth outpaced our revenue. So we got really, really big, but couldn't afford it anymore. So we closed down some locations, sold off some other locations, and that was literally a month before COVID hit, 2019. So 2020, 2021, I was really, really fortunate to be able to take some time off. I went back to school. I got another master's degree. I got an executive MBA. I'm a glutton for punishment. Wanted to squeeze every dime I could out of the VA. My money.
Yeah.
Just had a really, really good time with my son. My son is 10 years old. He's going to be 11. There's a lot of homeschooling going on. So I was homeschool dad, go to swimming pool a lot, just got to spend a lot of time with him. And that was really, really cool. And then when I graduated, a company came and knocking. We had a great recruiting team at University of Houston is where I went. And they set me up with a job back in oil and gas, but this time as corporate security. So the company I work for is a pipeline company, and we supply essentially federal critical infrastructure. So think your airports, military bases, your home. 75% of the homes in the United States we provide natural gas for, or I should say 75% of the homes that have natural gas. And it's my job to keep the pipeline safe and within regulatory constraints of security. And you'd be surprised the type of attacks we have. We do have bombings, we have shootings, we have break-ins. And that's what I do now for business.
Man, it's a great career choices that you took there. I was chemical, our resident redneck in the chat, Jake Holland, who he posted to get you to come on here. He was an instructor at the ground ordnance portion of EOD school when you started school. He was down there with you, Army guy. Philip D. Blackman's in the chat as well. He's also EOD guy in Texas as well. Great, both of them great dudes. And I told you I'd wait to tell you the title of this article until Jake was on. I know he's on now. So I looked you up on Google. I said I have to find some stuff out about him. And the title of the article is The Real Life Hurt Locker.
Oh, God.
I know Jake would love this because that's Jake's favorite movie. He makes us watch it at work all the time. He always talks about hair products and stuff like that. And then the 5-to-1 ratio and popping rounds. So I had to bring that up and let you know. But you just said everything in the article. So I don't have to ask any questions off the article.
I get so much freaking flack from that. A death from 1,000 cuts, dude. Every time a friend sees me, they remind me, hey, didn't you write there? You were in that article, The Real Life Hurt Locker, right? Yeah. I hate you.
As soon as I seen it, I thought that's perfect for this episode. Perfect.
So it's interesting. What's interesting about that, I'll tell you a funny story real quick. When we got back to the United States, we had 4 guys in the vehicle, me and 3 guys, right? And I told my guys, hey, look, this vehicle literally saved our lives. It was relatively new to the battlefield. I think they'd only been out there a couple of years, maybe 3 or 4 at that point. And I said, we got to do something for the guys that make this vehicle. And I was sincere. So we put together $100 each. I bought a Visa gift card and mailed it off to the company. And I think they were out of Kentucky at the time. Mailed it off to the company with a letter, short letter. This is what happened to us. We just wanted to say thanks. Take this gift card and buy the guys on the floor that put our vehicle together a keg of beer. It was completely sincere. That's all we wanted. Well, they wrote a letter to the USA Today. Then the USA Today did an article, and another place did an article, and another place did an article, and it wound up being just a snowball effect. I had an interesting interview with Martha Radis. Came into my house. If you don't know who Martha Radis is, she's on NBC. She's been there forever. I think she did the the debate, Democratic national debate, like maybe 5 or 10 years ago. Really, really popular news lady. Having her sit in my house and interview me about getting exploded was absolutely surreal. It was cool. I mean, it was neat, but it was like, I'm not that guy. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah, you can interview me, but I survived an explosion. I basically got lucky, guy.
Thank you.
Right.
RJ, you got any questions?
Yeah, man. I mean, I always got questions. I mean, out of all the jobs you could have had, man, EOD. I mean, goodness, man. I mean, you explaining, from the beginning to the end, like I see you like to go the hard route, man. But why EOD, man? Like
because I make questionable life decisions. I don't know. I've always had a mantra since I was growing up. Frankly, I was bullied a lot when I was a kid. I wasn't a big dude. That's one of the reasons why I joined the Marines. I started going to Gold's Gym when I was real young, 15, 16 years old. And I always had a hard time. It was kind of a mantra of mine of saying no to things. Like, I think anytime you get an opportunity in life, you should say yes to it. Even if it's an opportunity, you're like, this sucks. I don't want to do this. There's an opportunity for learning to occur. And for every layer of every layer of experience you get is another layer of complexity to your personality, your skills, your mindset. So when that opportunity for EOD came up, frankly, dude, I had no idea what I was getting into. I was like, these are the guys that come up and pick up the old ordnance. They blow things up at the range, and roger that. They have a cool bomb suit and robot. So let me go see what it's all about. And probably one of the best decisions I ever made was going EOD, because it gave me so many more opportunities that I built on after that in AT Solutions and at Halliburton. I was the director of their global explosives program. And now over at Kinder Morgan, being an anti-terrorism guy is essentially what I do over there. If I hadn't taken that opportunity, or if I had said no, then none of this would be here. I wouldn't be on this podcast with you guys, and God knows what I'd be doing right now. I don't know if I would have been unsuccessful. It would have just been down a different road.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. So, I mean, you mentioned layer of experience, man. I like that, because when you take opportunities, that's something more that you add to your toolbox of being valuable, right? Or what makes you valuable. But what would be one of the main experiences from being on EOD, man, that carried over into success now?
That's an awesome question. And I'm probably going to give you an unexpected answer. And it's really what it boils down to is a successful EOD technician, whether they're in combat or if they're operating in the United States, whatever environment that they're in, is to take care of your tools. I know that sounds really superfluous, but making sure that your craft, being good at your craft is one thing. But being good at your craft and having crappy tools, or not being prepared, or not being ready to go do the job, well, you might as well quit before you start. I mean, if literally, if you go to work every day and you're sloppy about your work, you don't take care of the things that protect you, even if you're now clearly not everybody on this podcast is an EOD guy or a girl that's listening to this. So let's roll it up into a corporate position. So let's say you're in corporate America and you have a desk job. And you leave your desk a hot mess every night. You get to work, you're kind of a slob about it. You don't really keep your files, in a particular order. You're setting yourself up for failure day in and day out. You're not going to be successful. And it's going to breed complacency. You're going to forget to do things. And I think it's that at the end of the day, making sure that everything is ready for the next day and having a little bit of preparation, but also taking care of, literally take care of your computer. Make sure that your computer gets debugged on a regular basis, or make sure that your office space is tidy, that your desk isn't a hot mess, that your files make sense to you. Preparation. And I think pride in work. EOD school is I think it might still be one of the only voluntary schools. I know it's one of the only voluntary MOSs that's out there. take it seriously. Have pride in your work. Everybody that I went to EOD school with, that graduated EOD school, was there because number one, they wanted to be there, but number two, because they fought to be there and they were fighting to stay there. And that was a lot of pride in work, pride and accomplishment.
Yeah,
a whole lot of pride and accomplishment.
Man, that's good stuff. Y'all heard it here. Y'all heard it here, man. A lot of people that I hear join the military, sometimes I hear it's mixed messages, but I'll hear that, this job doesn't translate over. This job doesn't translate over, but it's the experience that you gain from that, and one of the things that I remember before joining the military, I had a degree in recording arts, man, and I was working in the studio, and I got fired for being late, and that was a learning experience for me. But when I joined the military, I understood more what being on time meant, and what on time is. It's actually early, So, and that was a new experience. That was a layer of experience that carried over into now my life now after the military. So yeah, man, that's some good insights.
I think another perspective and thing that I took away is and this might be a leadership trait, it might be an EOD thing, I'm not sure, but I think it's got cascading effects, and that's taking care of your team. It doesn't matter if they're horizontal or vertical to you, if they're in charge of you or they're below you, or if they're lateral to you. Real compassion is taking care of one another. Not just in the business sense. So if we're going to scale this back to corporate America or a job that you have in blue collar America, whatever. Compassion for each other, just literally looking out for one another. If you have a job where there's occupational safety risks, make sure that you're doing the right thing, you're following the regulations. If you have a desk job and somebody's relying on you to finish a product, a TPS report, whatever, you want to use a generic thing from like a bad movie. Well, somebody's relying on you to do that, man, and they might not be able to do their job until you do your job. And their quality of work could depend on the quality of work that you produce too. So it kind of goes back to that, taking care of each other. It kind of starts with you. Yeah. And your outlook. And again, cascading effects are, if you take care of your team, they're going to have good morale. They're going to have a good culture to work in. And then that's going to exacerbate across a company or a small unit. And it goes a long way. Nobody likes going to work in a place they hate.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Right? And that's usually driven by the people that you're around.
Yeah, man, that's one of the first questions I ask, man. Any job or any new career I start, man, what's the culture like? But if there's any doubt about the culture, I think that's important, man. That's why it's important to hire veterans, man, because we have these ethos that we live by, that bring a better culture in the workplace environment. I've been in the corporate world, man, and that taking care of your team, we have to show them the way.
Yes.
Well, I think one of the other things, and you guys will both agree to this, is you can train skill, right? But you can't train personality. You can't train a person's attitude out of them. You can, but it's usually a carrot and stick approach. Sometimes more stick than carrot. But it takes a whole lot longer to trade out bad attitude, than it does. All right, you got a great attitude. Welcome to the company. I'm glad you're here early. You're very productive. You're eager to learn. Let me give you the soft skills and the hard skills that you need. I'd rather do that 100 times over, trying to train the best, most skilled person in the world that acts like a jerk when they gets to work.
Yes. 100%. And when RJ asked the question, why EOD, our resident redneck had to chime in and say, because chemical guys need heroes too. So I had to throw that in there, because we do this every day at work. So this is how we roll all day and night. So.
Jake, man, I like it. I like it, my man. Yeah.
So after 14 years in EOD, you got out, you moved, like you said, moved down to Houston, and now you're an ambassador for the EOD Warrior Foundation. What do you do there, and how often do you get involved with a lot of the things they're doing?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. I'm glad you brought them up. EOD Warrior Foundation, go check them out, eodwarriorfoundation.org. They do amazing things for our brotherhood, our sisterhood. We got the Scholarship Foundation that's out there. Of course, they take up the wall. So the folks that don't know about it, EOD has got a wall that's a memorial wall that's very tantamount to the one over in Vietnam, the Vietnam War Memorial up in DC, where every year we put the names of our fallen up on the wall. Each service has their own designated area. So they take care of that. And then they also do a lot of retreats and mental health opportunities for veterans. So I've done a couple fundraisers. I held a couple cigar fests. I'm a big cigar guy. And here recently I put together a retreat that I'm breaking for the first time. It's going to be on your podcast. This is the first time this is breaking out in the public. This September from very, very first, from September 7 to September 14, I'm taking a group of EOD techs down to Costa Rica to a surfing camp for ecotherapy. Nice. This is the same area that was, I want to say, discovered. I mean, these guys weren't pioneers, but basically this area was found in the movie The Endless Summer, which is an old 60s surf movie. And it's gotten a lot of popularity since. And now there's a surf camp there. And we're going to go. I've been surfing all my life. And these guys are going to go down there, get real surf lessons from real instructors. We're going to get some mental health therapy in the evening, kind of some talk therapy, do some ecotherapy. Is a really, really cool time. So I, as an ambassador, I try to advocate for our veterans if they need any assistance outside of what the foundation or the VA could do. Sometimes it's personal assistance. Sometimes it's just, picking up a phone and having a conversation. But the cool thing about the program is every state is allocated 2 sponsors, 2 ambassadors, I should say. And if we have an EOD tech that comes home that's injured or whatever, and he comes to the state of Texas, then I advocate for him either through his family or through the VA or do whatever I need to do to help the family out. So it's a really, really cool organization. If you got a couple dollars in your pocket, I'd absolutely recommend you donate it to them because they're really cool folks.
Outstanding.
That's awesome.
And then, of course, beyond that, you're starting up your own small business selling art and prints and products with your art on them. And then you're also going to have a plan to paint 1 bomb suit for each of the 50 USMC EOD techs that we've lost in the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. How'd you come about that idea?
Yeah, I got to be honest with you, brother. I don't know what happened. it was December. I'm not even kidding. Seriously, December 14th. I've been dabbling in art. I went to high school, took an advanced art class, never really had the opportunity or the time to sit down and execute like technical stuff. So I did a lot of cartoony things and stuff like that. But literally on December 14th, last month, whatever, I sat down and I was like, you know what? I'm going to paint with a purpose. I have a subject matter that I know about. It's these bomb suits. I'm going to paint a couple bomb suits and see what they look like. And then 1 turned into 2, that turned into 3. I was like, well, now I'm kind of on a roll. And I started to come up with this idea, like the bomb suit, to give your audience an idea. When you're in a bomb suit, you're cut off from the world. You might have communications under there. You might be able to hear somebody in your ear or talk to them through the microphone, but you're physically secluded. That thing weighs between 75 and 100 pounds. It's extremely heavy, super cumbersome. You just feel, and this is my own personal experience, I'm not claustrophobic, but I've just felt encapsulated, like I'm like shut out from the outside world, but the outside world is also shut off from me. And the very first painting that I did was a mashup of Van Gogh's The Starry Night was the background, and the foreground was from the painting called The Scream from Edward Munch. And if you've ever seen The Scream before, it's a guy that kind of face. And I substituted that person with a bomb suit. And the reason why I did that was rhetorical. Obviously, nobody can hear you scream in a bomb suit, and that was the kind of idea that I was going with in that first piece of art. And then I went on to another one and another one and another one. I was like, each one of these guys is faceless. They're nameless. You don't know who's inside of the suit, but there's in the airlines terms, they call it a spirit. You got a spirit in a suit. So like each one of these really represents somebody that I could have known. And we had exactly 50 guys in the Marine Corps got killed in Afghanistan and Iraq from EOD. And for your audience, to put that in perspective, when I came in the Marine Corps EOD program, we only had about 350 techs, EOD techs on active duty. So, I mean, that's a consequential percentage of guys. And I knew most of them. Might not have been beer drinking friends with them and best buddies, but I could recognize most of them. We knew most of each other by name. One of them was my partner, literally my partner from Quantico. My other one was was a good study, was my study mate from EOD school, wound up being one of my best friends. And it's hard to explain the amount of sorrow, regret, and loss. I mean, the survivor's guilt that I've been experiencing for such a long time. When I started putting paint to pad and starting to be able to immortalize these guys in my own way, I found so much therapy through that, guys. Honestly, it's hard for me to explain. And with every painting that I've been doing, I've been getting exponentially better. And it's not a pat on the back. It's just, it goes back to what we were saying earlier about practicing, about keeping a clean environment, taking care of your tools. Painting is a technical thing. If you learn the technical skills, you can do it. I just enrolled in professional painting classes. And my wife reminded me when I was outside painting, she's like, you got like 10 minutes until you're on this podcast. It's like, oh, so time, it's like time just kind of falls away. I get into my artwork and I just keep going. And some of the paintings that I'm going to do, the Bomb Squad guys, are whimsical. Some of them are a little bit more serious. I've taken different types of disciplines and different types of styles. Like some of them are impressionist, some of them are loose watercolors. I'm up to 26 now, bomb suit guys. You can see all of them on my Instagram. Timothy Michael 2336 is my Instagram handle. I was just telling Rich when we started, he asked me about social media. I've got 2 friends on Facebook right now and like 6 followers on Insta. So if you guys could follow me and give me some bumps, I'd really appreciate it. And you'll see some of my stuff. And I love sharing it. Like I said, I'm just kind of getting started out here. But as I grow a portfolio, I think I'm going to put some of these online so I can sell prints. Looking at like a couple online, non brick and mortar stores, but like a turnkey e-commerce place like Printify or Etsy. I'm going to start selling stuff soon.
Wow,
Awesome.
man. There's some good stuff on here.
Yeah. So birds are on. See?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'm checking out your Instagram now, man. This is, oh, man. Yeah, it's some pretty good stuff, man.
I've painted a lot of bomb suit guys. I've had requests to paint some skulls. Painted some skulls. Painted a funny one the other day. Somebody requested a werewolf skull. And I was like, I'm not sure where to get reference material for that, but we'll figure it out.
Dracula movie.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know werewolves had bone ears. Apparently that's a thing.
So is this oil paint or?
So I've only done 2 finished oil paintings. The one is the wolf skull and the other one is the elongated skull. All of the rest of it is acrylic. And there's a big learning curve between acrylic and oil. Oil's a lot easier to work in, but you have to learn a lot more technical skills. Acrylic paint's literally dry in minutes. So if you don't work fast, then your work could look really, really sloppy. Man, that's why I want to learn oils.
Yeah. That's good. What would you say is the hardest learning curve with painting?
Really, patience. And I think as an EOD guy, I've got patience in buckets.
Yeah, that's skill carried. That layer of experience carried over well.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And I mean, again, technical things take a certain amount of concentration and appreciation of application of technical skills. Yeah. And once you learn those technical skills, which I'm in the process of learning, you can apply those. And again, they layer on top of each other. So I'd love to come back in a year, guys, and be like, all right, I went from painting these sloppy bomb suit guys to, maybe my stuff is going to be hung in the walls of MedEng or the EOD school. I don't know. Give me a year. We'll come back and revisit that.
Yeah, definitely will. And I'm sure now you have 18 followers on IG.
Nice.
My brother in that, so.
Living the dream.
Hope it's my three guys. Hope my 3 guys from Nepal that are very loyal listeners to us. I hope they just followed you on IG as well.
Yeah,
Nepal.
man.
Brilliant. I love it.
I'm not sure why I have 3 listeners in Nepal, but we appreciate them.
Yeah. Global.
Yeah, man. As I open some of these pictures, man, I wonder what the stories are behind some of these. Do you go into it with just whatever you're feeling, or do you have like a purpose before you start?
Yeah. So honestly, I just used some reference material. I downloaded a whole bunch of pictures of guys in bomb suits.
Okay.
And if it's the bomb suit ones you're talking about,
like the one on the beach.
Yeah. So the beach one it's kind of a silly story, but I go to a gym and I get on the treadmill every once in a while, and they have a screen in front of you, and you could pick to run on the beach or the mountains or through the field or whatever. And I always picked to run on the beach, and I wanted to challenge myself. So I no kidding, I took my phone and I snapped a picture of the scenery, and I was like, I'm gonna put a bomb squad guy on the beach.
Man,
and
nice.
That sometimes creativity isn't that interesting, but sometimes it's funny.
Yeah. Yep. That's good stuff, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So if you can give the audience 3 tidbits of advice on how to get out of their own way, how to get into painting, and just how to be awesome people, what would that be?
What was the first one? How to get out of their own way?
Yes.
Oh man, that's there's a lot of answers for that. How to get out of your own way. I'm Christian, and I have been my entire life, and I think the one way that I've always tried to get out of my own way is if it's a problem, if it's something I'm challenged with, it could be work, it could be painting, it could be whatever. Is I stop worrying about it, and I literally just put it in the hands of God. God's got a plan for me. God's got a plan for everybody. And if you're really, really able to just say, you know what, God, this is in your hands. I trust you and your plan. That is the number one way I get out of my own way. Get out of my own head. I trust a higher power with it. What was the second?
That hit home, man. That hit home right there.
Thank you.
Like it. Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. How to get into painting?
Oh, so I started this class. It's online. It's self-paced. It's from do you mind if I mention the name of the company?
Yeah, man. No.
The name of the company is Evolve Art Class or Evolve Art Studio, something like that. So the guy that runs it is a master painter. The guy's he did the cover of the Rolling Stones Steel Wheel album. I mean, the guy really knows what he's doing. And he started out as a professional commercial artist, and now he runs an art studio up in New Jersey, and he breaks things down into its most simple forms. It's a 1-year program. It's not terribly expensive. It comes with really, really good art supplies, and I would recommend checking that out. You could dabble on your own if you're, just kind of doing it on the side. I learned a whole lot by watching YouTube over the past month or so. A lot of really cool skills that you could develop off of there. And then a formula for being awesome. I guess you got to define to yourself what awesome is. A lot of us, especially young kids, young people nowadays, for that matter, old people. I mean, I just paint with a big broad brush. People tend to want to please other people, but don't do that. I mean, please your family, please your wife, please your spouse, your kids, your friends, but don't go out of the way to be something that you're not or please other people. You got to be accountable to yourself. If you're happy, your family's happy, everybody's taken care of, then you're awesome. I mean, that's as good as it gets. Outside of that, what other people think about you, I don't think anybody's ever going to go to the grave saying to themselves, I wish I would spend more time on Insta making people think I'm awesome. It's going to be quite the opposite. I wish I would have put my phone down and spend more time with my boy or brought my wife out more often, that kind of thing. I think that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. There's
wise words, man.
Great words, like RJ just said. Thanks for raising your right hand today and volunteering at about an 8-hour notice to come on here, less than 8-hour notice to come on here. Share your journey, share your story. and hopefully our audience, John, we already got you up to 18 followers, so I'm sure that number will go up higher as the guys in Nepal spread it around up there on Mount Everest, and you'll be doing a lot better by the time the next time we see you. I just sent you an email to connect you with someone that's in the chat room that wants to talk to you, so you two can chat offline and get together and do great things. But it's been great having you.
Guys, I really appreciate it. Again, just getting my name and information out there is really, really cool, but having an opportunity to speak to your audience and meet you guys, virtually was a pleasure. Thanks again. You guys are doing awesome work.
Thanks, Timothy.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too, brother.
This is a message from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Got a question about your VA benefits, healthcare, or eligibility? Go to va.gov, where you can access a new interactive chatbot to ask questions 24/7. One can still browse va.gov for information, but you can now ask specific questions to the chatbot, like what's the PACT Act? How do I apply for disability benefits? What's my claim status? You can access the new feature through va.gov's Contact Us page. Then click on the Start Chat button. The chatbot will continue to improve veterans' access to information about the benefits and services they've earned. This is one way VA is offering seamless and secure access to its online resources.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.